Hey, it's your boy, Sergeant Hooked on Henshins. Don't ask me why I started it like that. So today is our episode 30 review of Kikai Sentai Zenkaiger. This is probably my favorite episode of the series so far. I know I've said that semi-often about a lot of episodes. The debut of Two Kaiser and the debut of the super forms for Super Zen and Super Two Kaiser. But this one's a really, really good episode. The main plot of it has to do there is a world monster in it, this dried persimmon world. Persimmon's some kind of fruit, I guess. Mainly, I guess it must have more prominence in Japan because I've never really seen it in the United States at all. But I mean, it's cool. So it's this dry persimmon world, and like it hits you with its power, and it makes you really thirsty, and like you're about to dehydrate and everything. So there's that part of it where the team is hit with that. But we also get introduced to the new villain general. His name is Hakaiser. And he's essentially the Toji Tendo's answer to Kaito. Like he's just as like showy and like, you know, kind of like clever with wordplay and things that he says as Kaito is. I have a theory about that, and I'll talk about that near the end of the episode. But his introduction was great. I love the suit. I love how it's very like it's reminiscent of everything that we know from like what Toji Tendo looks like, but it also looks very much like something that if he does become good at some point, it could be like upgraded in some way or recolored in some way to be a ranger suit of some kind. Again, I'll get to more of that later, what I think about that. Um, and my good friend Tay on Twitter talked about that. A lot of people have identified that he's actually design influenced by Ninja Captor, which was a show they did a while back, like just after, very, very close to around the time after that Go Ranger debuted. It's kind of, some people consider it the Lost Sentai or the Unnamed Sentai because of it basically having the same setup. But anyway, so he's really cool and fights really interestingly. He has what he calls the Zenryoku Hakai cannon. And Kaito notices right away that the Super Sentai, team's around, and he's like, "Whoa, that's Sentai on the gun. What's going on?" And so they escape, and when they escape, because they kind of get their butts kicked a little bit, they go back to the candy shop. Tiyatsu's candy shop. Get this funny gag where she's like dumping water in her mouth from the like tea kettle because she's thirsty, because that's what the dry persimmon world monster does, or world monster. And we get this scene with Sinchan, and he says that he recognized the cannon and he couldn't get it off his mind, and so he looked into it, figured out that Kaito's parents, that and Hakaiser himself, developed the technology for that. So it's clear that Ijirud is pulling through whatever information he can from Isau's mind or whatever, and is trying to utilize their technology against the Zenkaigers, which is a good plan in theory, except I think that a lot of this is starting to really backfire on him, because that was the same thing. Technically, Two Kaiser stuff was reverse engineered from stuff like that. The Super Zenkaiju gear, or the Zenkaiju gear, I mean, is reverse engineered from stuff like that. So yes, they make that clear. And he also introduced himself as the protector of the worlds or whatever, of worlds or whatever. Seems to be that before they came up with the idea for the Geartlingers, maybe they first came up with the idea for the Zenryoku, what we call the Zenryoku Zenkai cannon, and Hakaiser. And he was meant to be like a proto Zenkaiger, pretty much. He does say Kikai no power, which is kind of interesting, and then Hakaiser. So they have a couple more run-ins with the Dry Persimmon world. Pretty interesting, funny stuff there. And essentially, Flint and the SD Bot Bros set up a like watering station for them to keep drinking water so they can keep hydrated while they fight the monster. And then Hakaiser comes in. He keeps saving them. He keeps getting in the way. He uses the gun at first in their first fight, and he summons, if you the way it works is it goes by the categories of gears. So he does one of them, and he summons a bunch of the blues from a bunch of different seasons. Time Blue, I think there's Bioman, Bio Blue, and Dyna Blue, and a bunch of other ones. Before that, like I said, in their first fight, that was in this fight. In their first fight, he summoned a bunch of the yellows at the same time, so that was really cool. So it's interesting how that works. We'll have to see when they use this weapon more often, if it's just like one color at a time, or if you can kind of mismatch whatever team you want to come out. It looks to be similar to how Stay-Sazer's stuff works with the, gears and summoning, all that. So So yeah, anyway, so Hawkeyes fights them again, and they're able to separate the two of them and keep the monster back while Zenkaiser fight, while Kaito fights Hawkeyes. And you can, throughout the fight, it's kind of interesting because Hawkeyes keeps saying, oh, like, you're pretty good at fighting, and like it's kind of like an honorable adversary. Kind of reminds me of like Nazca from Double, and just a few other people here and there throughout like both Rider and Sentai that like are technically evil but are still honorable, like Do Gold, kind of near the end of Kyoryuger. I'm getting over a cold right now, and I'm very sorry about that. I sound goofy, but anyway, so they're doing their thing, having a good time, fighting, beating ass, and Zenkaiser says something. Oh, because he says Zenkaiser, he says, if you wait too long here, you're going to become a mummy. And he's like, well, then I'll be the world's first world-saving mummy. And that makes Hawkeyes laugh like uncontrollably, takes him off guard, and Kaito's able to shoot the gun out of his hands and get it and use it himself. We also get to see the Zenryoku Zenkai cannon, or not Zenryoku Zenkai cannon, Zenkaiser's suit dirty, which I thought was kind of interesting. It's just like a small thing, but we've never seen that suit get dirty yet, or like be any different than just the clean colors that it usually is. Anyway, so Kaito gets the gun and knocks back Hawkeyes. Also, Hawkeyes has this gag where like he has he has to recharge, so he has to leave. And so they are able to destroy Persimmon World with the Zenryoku Zenkai Finale Buster. What this does, he literally spins the little dial on the top, and it has the symbols that represent each of the different types of Sentai or whatever. He keeps spinning it, because we saw Hawkeyes only do it like a few a few times. Kaito does it, and does it a bunch. He's like, he just keeps spinning it, and spin to win. And around him, it's like a circular shot. It's kind of cool. We see all the logos of the different Sentai teams circling around him, which is kind of cool. We see Ryu Soldiers, Gokaigers, everybody. I think almost all of them. And he shoots it, and it you see on the cannon, it has all the little faces of like the Red Rangers going up to Kaito at the very end of it, Zenkaiser. So you see the power go through, it shoots it out, it shoots all the helmets out, they all form together into a ball of light that turns into his face. Hits the monster. When it hits the monster, it hits him with the Zenkaiger logo, but behind him is the fucking, oh my god, it's the Toei Ocean thing from like the logo for Toei stuff, when you play like a Rider v Cinema or like Sentai stuff, whatever, the like ocean thing that's behind the backdrop thing, it does that. You just got destroyed by Toei, I guess. I love the show is not afraid of just bitch slapping the fourth wall like it ain't nobody's business. And I love it for that. It's so ridiculous and zany, and it's not to where it's too much. It's like enough to where it's a nice like levity from like what's going on in the episode, and it's style and its charm. It's just what it's going for, and I love it for that. I'm sure it's the same thing if I were to watch Car Ranger. It'd be the same thing with that. But anyway, yes, they destroy Dry Persimmon World. They try to fight Hawkeyes, and he leaves because he's out of energy or whatever. Oh, low battery, have to go, and he just flies away. So they fight Dry Persimmon World. Kind of cool because we get Zenkaio of Rumajin, Zenkaio Jurigawan, and Tukaio Kutnar at the same time. So you got 3 mecha at the same time. Actually 4 when you count in Kaito and Zox doing Zenkaijuo. So they destroys Persimmon World, Dry Persimmon World, and they get back to the shop, and he says, we're going to use this for good. He says, I'm going to use you for good. Don't worry. He's like talking to the gun, which I think is just Kaito. And they come back together, and they're like, he's going to be a threat, Hawkeyes, but we'll do what we can to, keep him at bay and blah, blah, blah. And we get a little scene at the end of Ichirud saying, okay, because he actually introduces Hawkeyes to Bokawas, and Bokawas is pretty impressed with him and says, oh, you have better output than Stay Sazer so far, which kind of, again, I'm kind of getting tired of Stay Sazer like being awesome and then getting just bitch slapped out of nowhere and then being not in it for a while and then all of a sudden coming back with something new and then getting bitch. You know what I mean? Like it starts to get a little tiring. I don't hate it. Again, I'm guessing that eventually he'll just become good at some point, as I also think Hawkeyes will. But we see Hawkeyes getting charged. Ichirud's talking about, can't believe you were beaten, but it's okay. We're going to figure this out, blah, blah, blah. And he, oh, I never knew that. That's information I've never seen before. And he sees some like research data stuff from Isao's mind. My kind of dark theory right now is that somehow in some way, either now or definitely right after that last little bit in the end of the episode, somehow Isao, which is Kaito's dad, is going to be put into Hakaiser's body. I don't think he'll stay that way forever. I think, if anything, he will for a while. He'll break out and be good, and then the Hakaiser suit will be his morphed form, if you will. If they do that, I don't know for sure. It's just kind of how I feel like the path I think it's taking right now. But I definitely get a feeling that we're going to get like Isao stuck within Hakaiser thing, and Kaito figuring it out and trying to bring him out of it. So overall, a really, really entertaining episode. I really enjoyed pretty much all of it. The only tiny thing was I'm not a big fan of them continually kicking Stasazer in the ribs. Pretty much, like he gets something awesome happen to him, like his debut, and then he's like not there for a while, and he comes back, gets his butt kicked, and then he's gone. And he comes back and he has the Stasazer Kai form with the upgraded battleizer forms of the Rangers he can summon. And he gets his butt kicked. You know what I mean? Like it's just like he keeps getting one up and he gets a little tiresome. But I don't hate that. I mean, it's fine. It's part of his arc, if you will. So anyway, like I said, I would probably give the episode probably like a 9.5 out of 10. It wasn't like perfect, but it was damn close to perfect. Already love the Zenryoku Zenkai canon. I think it's the most extra Sentai thing ever. It also lines up with the rumors. A lot of the times we're not sure if the rumors make any sense, but this time they do, of it being design influenced by Varadine, kind of being like an airship thing, whatever. And in the next episode, we see some kind of a mecha form with it, which is some kind of a airship of some kind of a plane mode. So also the Zenryoku Zenkai or whatever it's called, where it's that combined with all four of the Kikai units together. So it seems to be CGI so far with that. I haven't shown like a practical suit for that. I hope that's not always the case. We kind of ran into that in LVP and Lupin Ranger versus Pat Ranger, where Good Cool Kaiser VSX, I think, was like just CGI and that's it. And that kind of bothers me because it's like it doesn't make it feel real at all. I know that it's people in suits isn't really real, but it feels more real and like solid than a CGI suit kicking the butt of another CGI thing, So anyway, really good episode. Really enjoyed it. Loved the introduction to Hakaiser. I love how showy he is. And he's kind of like a foil to Kaito for the Toji Tendo. So really enjoyed that. But anyway, I hope you guys have been enjoying the content so far. I've been loving making it. Probably pretty soon I'll do a video on Dino Fury. The rest of the episodes that have premiered, kind of talking about that and my overall thoughts on season 1. Other than that, I did recently get the K-Touch 21, so I might do a thing about that for Toku Toy Views. I'm still waiting on my Arkle, my Kuga Arkle, and my Revice driver, so there's those coming. And I am getting the Digivice V pretty soon, which is like basically a Vita bracelet. It's the new Digivice for a Digimon Ghost game. But anyway, I hope you guys been enjoying the content. I've been loving putting it out there for you. Thank you guys so much for subscribing. We're at 231 subscribers, somewhere around there. Thank you guys for liking, watching, sharing, commenting, disliking even. Interaction is interaction. It's fine with me. Leave in the comments below what you guys think of today's episode. Did you agree with me? Did you guys think things different? Did you guys notice some other things I didn't notice? If you guys have other ideas of content you want me to do, I'm totally down for that as well. Follow me on social media. I'm on Twitter as Sergeant Hooked on Henshin's there. Well, actually, Sergeant Hooked on Shin Ichigo, Ryuso Rider Red on there. And on TikTok, Sergeant Hooked on Henshin. So anyway, follow me there if you guys would like to, and on here on YouTube. But as always, stay hooked on Henshins. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.